Hi there, welcome to what is the first of what I'm hoping will be many Zoom interviews with ex-Aberdeen players over the coming weeks and months. And as we know, today is the 40th anniversary of Aberdeen winning the league title at Easter Road in season 1979 and 1980. And I thought it'd be quite apt to talk to my very own hero for my first production. Delighted to say Willie Miller is here. Hiya, Willie.
Ali, you all right?
Yeah, I'm very well. Lovely to see you. Thank you for coming on. Can you believe it's been 40 years?
Not really. I think, when you get to my age, though, you look back and you can't believe how quickly the years have flashed by. But unfortunately, it's just a fact of life that it's been a lot of years since we lifted that trophy. Very important trophy for us, of course. But it just seems like yesterday.
Let's just go back just before the game, because Willie and I are going to talk specifically about the game at Easter Road. But when did you start to get an inkling that the league title could possibly be ours?
Well, it was always a target. I came to the club in '71, so it's a good 9 years of trying. Bobby Clark was there before me. He was the old stager. And of course, he had a great belief that it was achievable. But I don't think anybody else really felt it was achievable outside the club and the manager and the players. I think probably the fans had their doubts as well, particularly when we only drew with Hibs. It was really strange how, one of the most depressing games that season was Hibs at Pittodrie, and one of the best games was obviously the second last game when we actually clinched the title. But no, we had a belief. We had a belief that we could do it, and I think it's probably the two games against Celtic, and we had that challenge down at Celtic Park where we had to go down there and beat them twice. Quite an extraordinary target for us, but one that we managed to achieve. And I think, once we took care of Celtic, who were closest, well, they were leading the league for most of the season. But once we took them on at Celtic Park and took them over, then, we believed the title was ours. We just needed to see it over the line.
See, from March 1980 to the end of the season, there was actually a fixture congestion. There was a backlog of games that had to be played because of our commitments in the various cup competitions. And I worked out that nearly every week, for a number of weeks, we had to play 2, if not 3 games a week. Do you think that consistency actually helped us towards the end of the season? Because we went a number of games unbeaten.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it helped me because it was great. We didn't have to do too much training. And training was not my strong point. I loved the games. I loved playing the games, and obviously enjoyed when the ball was out in training. But the rest, to be perfectly honest, was just a means to an end. We had that backlog. We had a lot of games to make up. We were a lot of points behind as well, at the beginning of the year. But I think, if the games come thick and fast, you don't have too much time to think about it. You don't have to go into the tactics too much. We're a very good side with a lot of players, with a lot of belief, very talented players. So I think that definitely helped. It helped the momentum. And it helped just with the fact that the games kept coming at us, and we knew that we just had to keep rolling along and getting the results and getting the victories and stacking up the points and just trying to put that pressure on Celtic until we could take them on. And there's always pivotal games in the season. And when you're chasing someone like Celtic as well, who are a very good side, who were used to winning titles, then you just had to get them in your sight to give you the opportunity to take them. But I do think, the fact that it was a congested period that it helped us, and it certainly helped the consistency.
Right, let's talk about the game at Easter Road. Were you nervous ahead of that game?
Nervous ahead of which game? Sorry, I lost you there for a minute, Alec.
The Hibs game at Easter Road, where we clinched it. Were you nervous ahead of that game?
No, I don't think so. I cannot remember going into that game feeling nervous, and certainly the way it panned out, it was quite a romp for us. But it's after you had taken on Celtic, after you had beaten them twice at Celtic Park, it's after you had achieved something that nobody thought that was possible, to go to Celtic in space, Celtic Park, East End of Glasgow, where I came from, by the way, and take Celtic on and not just compete with them, but actually beat them and beat them well. And I think that gave us a belief. So you take that forward, you take that confidence into the game at Easter Road, and the feeling was that we're not going to let it slip this time. We're not going to allow Celtic any kind of a glimmer of hope, and we just had to do the job, do the business on the day, and we did it extremely well.
Can you recall what Sir Alex Ferguson said ahead of kickoff in the dressing room?
I can't remember the exact words, but it was actually quite an intense person, as you know, or you've probably read and heard and listened to the stories and over the years. And it was intense, and had this constant cough as well, this nervous cough that he had too. Great manager, absolutely, had us all prepared, had us all wound up. But there was a belief within the dressing room. Sometimes I felt that the manager could go over the top, but we stayed calm. The majority of the players stayed calm. We knew what it was like. We knew the intensity. We knew that the target that he had was to dominate Scottish football. The only way you can dominate Scottish football is take on the Old Firm. So the work was done. The confidence was there. He just had to make sure that we didn't leave anything in the dressing room. So nothing too intense. Nothing too overwhelming in terms of tactics. The games have been coming thick and fast, so we knew that we were in a good vein of form, and it was just a matter of keeping us focused. So I didn't really feel nervous, and I don't think a lot of the boys felt nervous either.
The opening goal came on the 23rd minute, Stevie Archibald's header. But did you sense that the goal was coming anyway, just by the way that we'd started the game?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm saying that we weren't nervous in the dressing room, I don't think we were. But once you get onto the field of play, you've still got to do the business. You've still got to cope with what's ahead of you and the importance of this game. And sometimes that can affect your play. And perhaps we weren't at our very best. But as I said, I think we had that resolve and that confidence, that belief that eventually the goals would come. And they did, start coming then. There was only always going to be one winner, and that was going to be us. And after the first goal, it was a bit of a romp thereafter. I didn't feel that I had too much to do at the back, or Bobby Clark had too much to do at the back. Just a matter of keeping things focused and not doing anything silly, and allowing the more talented players, like Sir Gordon Strachan, like Sir Stuart Kennedy, who was phenomenal in both Celtic games and the Hibs game. Ian Scanlon as well, and McGee and Archibald, not a bad striking partnership to rely on. So but I was pretty confident that these guys would do the business, and I just had to keep it nice and calm and organised at the back.
2-0 at half time. I'm guessing not much was said during that half time. Did anything have to be said?
No, nothing really had to be said, but I'm sure the manager was pointing out various things. I was speaking to, as you can imagine, I spoke to a number of people this week about the 40th anniversary, and one of the reporters was telling me on the day, listen to this one, on the day, Alec Ferguson had a run-in with Brian McGinley, who was, I think, the referee or the linesman, I'm not sure, but he had given Hibs a throw-in, and Alec Ferguson had a run-in with him, and Alec Ferguson actually get banned for the next season, or a fair part of the next season, the start of the next season, over a throw-in, and I think that's how intense a manager could get at times. And I'm sure that he was pointing out various things at half time. But again, it's just keeping myself focused. I mean, let's face it, we didn't lose a lot of goals in these days. It was, we're pretty watertight defensively. So the likelihood of any kind of a collapse in the second half was pretty small.
In the second half, I have to ask you, did at any time you inquire about how Celtic were getting on at Love Street?
Well, we didn't have to because we were being told. And, we knew we had won that game at a certain point. Once, the third goal goes in, there's no way back for them. And it's only a matter of time. But yeah, I mean, towards the end, it was Bobby Clark. The fans were telling Bobby Clark, and obviously the manager was being told as well what was going on, and we knew by the kind of atmosphere in the ground, not only were we doing well, but Celtic were not doing as well as they had hoped. And we did know that they were drawing at that time, and Clarkey was keeping me right as well. But it wasn't really, because you've still got to focus, you've still got a job in hand to do, so you can't get too involved with what the opposition are doing. But in that day, towards the end of the game, we certainly knew that Celtic were drawing, and it was just a matter of time before we could find out whether they had drawn or whether they had managed to turn that game round and take it to the last game of the season. So yes, it's one of the few games that I think you were actually kind of listening out for the opposition result, because normally you would just put it behind you, but towards the end of that game, definitely that was important to us.
There was only a few seconds between full-time in our game and then full-time at Love Street. I know it's 40 years ago, Willie, so forgive the question, but can you remember who you were standing next to when you actually got the news that we'd won the league? And can you remember your emotion?
It was Clarkey, yeah, Bobby Clark. I was normally the closest to him anyway. I played that deep. So, and he was keeping us right, and he was getting the scores, and he's one of the most positive guys that I've ever met in my life as well. So it was him, and the emotion was kind of overwhelming at the time. We had a cuddle, and then Fergie did his dance onto the pitch and grabbed Clarkey and grabbed me, at the same time, and we hugged each other. We knew the importance of it. It was a milestone for the club, for the manager, for everybody involved, and it was just a great afternoon. So the emotions were high because it was something we'd strived to do for such a long time, and for me, Bobby Clark deserved it more than anyone, because he had been at the club the longest. He was the one that always believed that it could happen. He was very helpful to me as a young player as well, breaking into the first team. He also developed a lot of that team slightly later, going into 82 and 83. Coopers, Simpsons, him and Lenny Taylor worked tirelessly to develop, Ryan Gunn, Eric Black, John Hewitt. Dougie, maybe not Dougie Bell. Dougie came from St Mirren right enough, but that these young players he was very good with, and for me he deserved it more than anybody, because he was a big part of the belief, along with the manager, that we could actually do it.
Over the years, have you had some fun with Sir Alex over that celebration whenever you guys have met up?
Yeah, I mean, we don't meet up too often. It's pretty sporadic, and everybody knows what a career that he went on to have at Manchester United. But yeah, we have met up, and we have had a laugh and a joke about that, and many other things as well. I think when you get together as a group, and you start talking about specific instances, there's some players within that group that get great memories, almost photographic memories. I'm not one of them, but when they start talking about it, when they start speaking about incidents, little ones or big ones or funny ones or depressing ones, we had a few depressing chats from the manager as well. Then it brings it all back, and certainly Sir Alex Ferguson has got a very good memory on what happened in the past as well. And yeah, when we get together, on the odd occasion we do get together, then it's good fun to recall these exciting and momentous moments.
If you were to pick a goal from all the goals that we scored at Easter Road, what was your personal favourite?
All the goals that we scored at Easter Road?
Yeah.
Well, I think Scanlon's one on the day was my favourite. I thought Scanlon was brilliant on the day as well. He got the 2 goals. I mean, McGee and Archibald were brilliant as well. B. Gordon, Stuart Kennedy. I mean, it was a great team performance. But I think that goal, just kind of rammed it home that the title was going to be ours. And it was a magnificent goal as well. He really drilled it into the back of the net. So I would say that one. Of course, if you were asking me what my one personal best goal had to be against Celtic at Pittodrie in '86, a few years later when we won the title that year as well. Because I don't normally score goals. Scored 1 or 2 good ones, but none more important than that one. But at Easter Road, that definitely is the most memorable goal when I've played there. Yeah.
One last question for you. How much fun was the bus journey home from Edinburgh back to Aberdeen after you clinched the league?
You know what? Yeah, it was more one of satisfaction than celebration, because remember, we still had a job to do. Obviously we celebrated, but and we knew, well, the title was ours because Partick Thistle, I think, had to beat us 10-0, something silly like that. But you're still professional, you've still got to prepare for that game in the midweek. So it was, we celebrated it. We celebrated it quite noisily, but we celebrated it knowing that we still had a game to play. And, we would eventually get the trophy and take it back to Pittodrie, and then we could really celebrate. So it was a bus full of very happy players, very satisfied players, and a manager that his target was met that day. That was the start of it. He knew that he had to overcome Rangers and Celtic. He knew that title wins were vital, because it didn't happen to clubs like Aberdeen. That was the territory of Rangers and Celtic. So I think from that moment on, we had the belief that we could do something. We did something really special that day, but there was more to be achieved, and really special occasions were achieved between then and 86. Just a phenomenal time for the club.
Willie, listen, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today. So stay safe, stay healthy in these uncertain times, and enjoy the celebration anniversary, because it really was something else. So thank you. Lovely to see you.
We'll enjoy it when we come out of this nonsense.
Lovely to see you.